Welcome to SveNFL.
What's up, y'all?
It's Jonathan Rollins.
Excuse me, Sarah.
Two Americans, one in Sweden right now, one in America right now, talking about football.
Let's go. SveNFL
man.
going global, baby. Let's go.
We're going global. We're taking out 2 continents right now. We just need a few more hosts in different continents. Throw somebody to Antarctica. And we got this, baby. Man, I'm not in a good mood, bro. Had a rough weekend.
Yeah.
And not because of the loss. Didn't expect to be more than 3-1 right now, but didn't expect to see what I saw, man. It was kind of traumatic viewing that Thursday night game.
It was scary. Yeah.
Yeah, very scary. You know what? Before we go gloomy, how's your trip in the States, man? You're there for a family reunion. How's it been?
The trip has been good, man. It's been it was a minimal amount of travel drama. I got here.
Oh, nice.
And my bag got here, all that stuff. So for the reunion, my mother rented for herself and for us. She rented this boat, a houseboat for us to stay on just for the weekend. And so we're on a houseboat sitting on the Savannah River. The party was a success. I saw a bunch of weird people I hadn't seen in forever, and
nice.
Gave a nice little speech.
You gave a speech.
I did. I was asked to give a speech,
nice.
and it was it was cool. And then I woke up Sunday morning at like 9:28 and was like, oh shit, the Vikings game's getting ready to come on. Turned on the computer. And then my cousin comes over to the boat. He had gone to the Huddle House and gotten scrambled eggs and biscuits and gravy and sausage and everything.
What's the Huddle House?
It's it's sort of like a shittier version of a Waffle House.
Okay, so it's a restaurant.
Huddle House is more of like a fast food version of
a diner?
Waffle House.
A fast food diner?
Well, more like you go in there and just order like you would at Chick-fil-A, like just to take it home or whatever.
Okay.
He comes over with a full-on Southern Slam type breakfast so that we can sit there and watch the football and eat that shit. And then I flipped over to Red Zone when the other games came on, and I'm out there with a beer in one hand and a fishing pole in the other.
Wow.
Loving that. And I sat there and watched the Falcons not choke.
Yeah.
At the end of the game, which I was like, holy shit. We went to the most redneck burger bar I've ever seen in my life. That's probably been there for 100 years. Definitely would not pass a health inspection if somebody walked in there. Definitely not.
Would I be able to walk in there with no incident with you?
Yes, it was mixed. It was a mixed crowd.
Good.
And it was an interesting bar. You could tell it was set up for people who really wanted to watch football.
I miss those, man.
Yeah, it was cool.
All we got here is Hard Rock. I mean, Hard Rock is cool enough, but you know.
Yeah. And then we went back to the boat, back to fishing, back to drinking, and then being able to sit there and watch Sunday Night Football without it being 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah,
was pretty great.
I'm so jealous.
And then during halftime, I had to sit there and listen to my mother's boyfriend tell UFO stories. About how he recently saw a UFO, which was a nice departure from him complaining about immigrants. So I'll take it.
Oh no, no.
Yeah,
sorry.
it gets like that over here.
Yeah, I bet.
And there were all these Southern women, my mom's friends. I had a revelation while I was sitting there listening to these women talk. It has occurred to me that Southern women, after multiple glasses of wine, I think you might actually be able to hear them from outer space. Like, I think if you had a microphone in outer space, you would be able to pick them up.
Oh, shit.
Like, loudest shit I've ever heard in my life. But anyway.
It sounds like my family, man.
Oh, it's crazy. But it's been great. And now we're off the boat. We're back at my mother's house. Settled in over here. We stayed up last night eating fried chicken and coleslaw and watching Monday Night Football.
Okay.
Which was, we'll get to that. But man, those Rams, they did not look good.
No, not at all, man. Damn.
But I think we should get it. We should get this game out of the way, man. Because I don't think anybody really. I certainly don't want to dwindle on it.
Okay. Let's make it quick, man. Everybody saw on Sunday when the Dolphins played Buffalo, Tua Tagovailoa get pushed by after throwing the ball, and when he landed, his head went back, hit his head on the ground, got a woozy, and he had hurt his back earlier in the game. They attributed him stumbling to a spasm from his back injury. We all thought that was bullshit.
Yep.
However, I, as a fan, was glad that he seemed to have gone through concussion protocol and passed and was allowed to come back into the game. I was, it felt, and he played well the rest of the game. Then, something that's not being talked about, the NFL scheduling, having a Thursday night game 4 days after somebody had a Sunday night game, has its own problematic feel to it. Because it's all about money, but the game being such a toll on people's body. But whatever, they have the game. They allow him to play, even though he was considered questionable throughout the week. And lo and behold, somebody beats the right tackle, grabs him from the blind side, just flings him down, and he hit his head. I thought he landed on his hand.
Right.
Because his hand looked pretty mangled, but apparently, I've never seen that before. A head injury, a successive head injury like that, so close to each other, can cause the nerves to lock up like that. And I've never seen anything like that as far as a head injury. And it looked really bad. I felt really bad for him. Once I realized that his fingers, he didn't land, I thought he landed on his hand. And I could just see his left hand looking like that. I was like, damn, did he break his wrist? I didn't know what it was. And then they said it was rough.
I mean, it's obviously caused a huge debate. Everybody's now a Twitter doctor.
Yeah, somebody's lost his job. The specialist that allowed him to come back lost his job, but maybe the protocol isn't good. Where's that part?
To me, the guy losing his job, that sounds to me like some shit where somebody's head had to roll.
Scapegoat.
You know what I mean? He sounds like a scapegoat to me.
Yeah.
I personally, I mean, whatever. For what it's worth, I think that the original injury was a head injury.
Definitely.
I don't think he should have been playing Thursday night.
No, he shouldn't. I think they should have been like, "Whew, we beat the Bills. Let's let Teddy Bridgewater do this just in case, err on the side of caution." But then you got a player saying, "I really want to play."
The other thing that's difficult is what you bring up, and we've been looking at this the last couple of weeks too. The same thing with Justin Herbert at the Chargers. Why are you playing this guy all the way to the end, risking? Now that wasn't a head injury, but still, the idea that the player is somehow, higher up at the top of the hierarchy than the head coach. I mean, the head coach, part of your job is to keep these players in check. You know what I mean?
It's like a boxing trainer. They're the ones holding the towel, not the boxer.
Yeah.
You throw in the towel, you don't want the guy to get hurt.
And these guys are trained from the moment that they're kids
to walk it off.
And especially within football, to just shake it off and show that you're a man and all that kind of. As much as we like to think that we've moved beyond that, we haven't really. No. And that's very obvious, especially when I come home to visit. It's it's real. That still goes on.
Man.
This was really scary. It'll be interesting to see. One of the things that of course I hate it for Tua on a physical level,
right.
Like, as far as like what's happened to him and his brain. But I also kind of more than anything kind of hate it for him on a PR level because this guy has so many eyes on him right now.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
As far as like, is he, this was supposed to be the year that everybody decided whether he was boom or bust, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he already had that pressure on his shoulders. And now you throw this on top of it.
Yeah.
And it's like they're gonna be watching every little move that he makes. Like, oh, is he okay? Did he do that weird shitty throw because of the concussion? Like, everything, like his whole universe is going to be dissected forever. I feel bad for him for that.
He seemed out of sorts in the game too. Not gonna, and that could be something that I'm thinking just because but I was like, damn, he's kind of. I was like, is he cloudy? I was thinking that, and then he got hit, and I was like, oof.
Well, here's the thing. I think we have to give some credit to the Bengals as far as that's concerned, because I think part of the reason why he looked out of sorts is because what's his name, Lou Anarumo, he had that defense coming.
Yeah.
He had him coming all night.
That's his thing, man. He's good.
I mean, Tua only got sacked that one time, but they had at least 9 or 10 QB hits in that game. I mean, they were coming for him big time. And of course, this wound up being a really good opportunity for the Bengals to kind of right their ship, having a tough start to the year. Joe Burrow had a pretty solid day, 20 for 31. I think you want Burrow. I don't think you want him throwing the ball more than 30-something times in a game.
No.
You know what I mean?
But by the end, he didn't need to, though, once Bridgewater came in there.
Exactly. And then, of course, they finally, for the first time this season, got a solid performance from Joe Mixon, who helped to take some pressure off of Joe Burrow. T. Higgins, man, he was good too. He was 7 receptions for 124 yards. Jamar Chase had a pretty good day, even though they had him pretty much bracketed.
They locked him down to the fourth quarter, yeah.
They did. He came alive late. And this game, to the Dolphins' credit, even without Tua, they kept it very close. That defense was giving them a chance to win the whole time. But then, Teddy B throws an interception, and then,
of course,
5 plays later, the Bengals are in the end zone.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, the Dolphins were going to have to lose at some point.
Yeah.
And it might as I actually did have a feeling that this was going to be the one they were going to lose.
Yeah,
but
I thought it was a possibility too.
The downside is obviously you just hate to see, what happened to Tua, and also what it means going forward. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, any injuries he has in the future are not brain related. That's all we can hope for, man.
Right.
So,
but it is football, so that's highly unlikely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, as I said, hopefully. So that was that game. That was a rough start to the football weekend, and then you had 3 days for everybody to talk about it. So, and then all of the experts came out. I really don't know what I mean, it's hard to blame the Dolphins when there is an NFL protocol and he passes through the NFL protocol and then he wants to play. You know what I mean?
So I can already tell you how there's an investigation, and I can already tell you how that's going to go. It's going to be like, well, we followed the protocol that's in place at the moment, but what we realize is that it's time for us to update our protocol. So it's like, we didn't fuck up based on the rules that we set for ourselves, but now we're going to change the rules and try to do it better.
Same as Deshaun Watson.
Exactly. They're just going to move the goalposts. That's what they always do.
Yeah. So. Unfortunately, it has to be there's a player behind it. You know what I mean? That's the unfortunate part, that a player is the one who gets the brunt of the force. No pun intended, or pun intended. Yeah. So then Sunday comes around, and we get a London game, and everybody's fantasy got messed up because everybody forgot to put Alvin Kamara in, or Kirk Cousins in, or whatever, or Jefferson, whatever. People forgot about the London game. That's what happens. The first London game, you forget to.
Or if you had Jameis Winston as your starting quarterback, you woke up too late and realized that he wasn't playing.
I'm sorry, I forgot to take Kamara out. Yeah, because Kamara was out. Yeah.
Yeah, and the New Orleans were rolling with the red rifle, Andy Dalton under center.
He came to play.
He did actually. He looked a little shaky early. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
This was an interesting game because I think it started looking like the Vikings were just gonna boat race them, they were just gonna absolutely destroy them. I think they scored on their first drive. Yeah, they had opening 13 play drive that resulted in a touchdown, and then it turned. It was almost like the Saints defense woke up after that. And they locked it down, and they started to give the offense a chance to win this game. They turned what would normally be a high-octane touchdown offense into basically a field goal offense for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Until later, of course. Until later. It got a little crazy in the
But sticking with it, though,
quarter.
man. Shout out to them for sticking with it and kicking those field goals.
Absolutely.
A lot of coaches, they get into the red zone a couple times. That third time, they're like, you know what? Let's try to get a touchdown. And next thing you know, that chase after the 6 leaves you with 0 twice or whatever. Mm-hmm. So other coaches should think about that, man.
I continue to be very impressed by Chris Olave, the rookie receiver for the Saints. He's been very good this year.
Yeah.
But without Jameis Winston and without Alvin Kamara, they just couldn't. The problem was that New Orleans defense was giving them a chance to win the game, but their offense couldn't do shit.
Mm-mm.
I mean, they look bad on offense, really bad.
Yeah.
And credit. I mean, this game, honestly, the fact that Vikings won 28-25, they had no reason to have 25 points. To be honest with you,
no,
none. It got a little wacky in the fourth quarter. It was like, what was it? The last somewhere it was like touchdown, like bang, 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 bang.
I thought the Saints were going to win when wasn't it like 40 seconds when they got the ball and they were trying to get the field goal range to tie it up and then they just fucking.
But how this game ended was probably one of the funniest missed field goals I think I've ever seen. Exactly. Bar? They get the ball, they have a chance to go down and get into field goal range and win the game, and it was a long one, right? He had just made a 60-something yarder.
Yeah.
And then he had to line up. I think he just made a 60-yarder, and now he had to line up to kick a 61-yarder. And to his credit, he had the distance, but it nicked off of the left upright, went down, hit the crossbar, and then fell out. Heartbreaker.
Like a Disney movie.
Heartbreaker for the Aints. Which I told you that was going to happen. I knew they were going to go over there and get beat by the Vikings. I did like that. And, obviously we'll get to this later, but, it's just a little, you can see a lot clearer when you're at the top of the division, somehow things make more sense at the top.
I've been there. I'm there too. I know hey, yo.
This is the first time that's ever happened.
This is a milestone for us. This is the first time in SveNFL history that both of our teams are leading their respective divisions.
Right.
Because we got the tiebreaker. We're ahead on tiebreaker wise.
The Falcons always lead at the beginning of the year before the season starts because we're alphabetically, in first place every year. But then it all changes after week 1. But yes, to be fair, are we tied? We're tied for first place.
Oh, we have first place. So sole possession of first place.
Well, we're sharing it at the moment. But whatever.
But first is first, man.
Maybe we should talk about that game since isn't that the next game to talk about?
Oh, well, so far, as the picks go, I picked Dolphins to win. I got that wrong. You picked the Saints to win, and you got that wait a second.
I would never pick the Saints to win. No, you
didn't. You didn't pick the Saints. You picked the...
I would never.
You picked the Vikings. I'm sorry. I'm looking at it wrong. You picked the Vikings to win. That
makes sense.
Okay, and then I picked the Browns to beat the Falcons, and I was wrong.
I don't, I could have tried to, as a friend, I could have talked some sense into you.
You said you avoided that game just so that you wouldn't have to make that decision.
What did I say that?
Yes.
I think I was pretty confident we were going to get the dub.
You didn't even want to go to the game.
I know, you're right. You're right. No, I thought for sure that Nick Chubb was going to run
and then he did break away. But let's talk about it, man. The Browns came out. Jacoby Brissett, he still looks way better than he did last year, no matter what. Because he looked like he was on his way out of the league last year.
Yeah.
But he's turned it around, man. I'm glad for him. The black journeyman is what we need in this era. Him and Teddy B. And but your boys, man.
I was a little nervous because we got off to a 10-0 lead pretty quickly thanks to a fumble. Then they fumbled on the opening kickoff.
Did they opening kickoff?
Or no? Or did they muff? No, that's not right. They muffed a punt on the like their second possession.
Okay.
We got it. We picked up a fumble. We had already scored a touchdown, and then I think they had a muff punt, and they held us to a field goal. So we were up 10-0, and then they scored 10 of their own. We went into halftime tied, and nobody really did much in the third quarter. But then Marcus Mariota, man, he fumbled at least once, which he seems to always do.
Yeah.
And we lost Cordarrelle Patterson in this game, which was unfortunate.
Yeah, man.
But who was it? It was Tyler Algiers, and then Caleb Huntley, who was he's like a rookie running back who we haven't had a chance to see yet, and he was pretty good downfield runner, really good in the red zone. It kind of looked like he was playing sort of that Jamal Williams role, like Jamal Williams up in Detroit.
Yeah.
How he doesn't need that big of a hole to get through, and he's strong enough to where he can barrel dudes over into the end zone. But I thought for sure, with the game on the line, a 3-point lead, and just a little over a minute of clock left, and the Browns had the ball, I was like, okay, well, this is a Browns victory for sure. And they were working their way down the field.
And then Brissett.
Brissett is going to be Brissett, and we managed to pick him off. It was the only interception we had in the game, I think, but it was a very timely one.
Yeah, man.
Chubb did have a good day. I know. How about it? I mean, I was like, I couldn't believe it. Chubb had a great day, and Joko had a great day. But this is like, to me, this is again exactly what I want for the Browns. Like, I want to see a great performance from Nick Chubb, but I still want the Browns to lose.
I was glad for you too, because you can see it like it was in Atlanta, but you saw his family was there. They had so many people from his family there in the stadium, and then it was like everything went right for you, man. Chubb did well. The Browns lost because the Falcons won. It's like it's a smack in the face to Mr. Watson.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
Yeah, man. I'm glad for you. Number one, you're number one. The next game is the Washington Commanders. Got beat by the Cowboys, man. Cooper Rush out here asking for that starting spot.
I don't think anybody really predicted that, the Cowboys would be this successful with Cooper Rush. I mean, obviously, as soon as Dak got hurt, everybody started reading the Cowboys obituary like this shit is over.
Yeah.
But that has not been the case.
They've been a little better.
Cooper Rush, it's been kind of fascinating because they talked a lot about how they they essentially simplified the game plan for Cooper Rush. And the success of that has led a lot of people to believe that maybe they should do the same thing for Dak. Like maybe they're just asking him to do too much. Like, why overthink this? Because, Cooper Rush, let's be honest. The Commanders are not a very good football team.
No, man. It's Rivera's that seat warming up.
But this was a very interesting week where you saw a lot of players that we were waiting to meet expectations finally started to meet those expectations this week. And I think Zeke would be one of them. Zeke played a lot better. CeeDee Lamb played a lot better. And then Cooper Rush has just been like steady as she goes.
Yeah.
He had 223 yards, 2 touchdown passes.
Yeah, he loves Noah Brown, by the way, too.
Mm?
He likes to go to North.
I think these Cowboys are kind of for real. Actually, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out when they hand the keys back to Dak, and what they ask him to do. I was watching the
because it's going to be a competition, right? I'm just
He's making too much money for that. They're not gonna.
No, I'm just thinking about Jerry.
Jerry's. I thought we got a nice little moment of clarity and honesty from Zeke. They asked him about it, and he was like, "Oh man, that's just Jerry trying to get y'all to click shit." Like Jerry's just trying to get them clicks, man. That's all he's doing, and don't worry about it. And I think he's probably right about that, because the Cowboys are one of those organizations that, for them, it's not always about football. It's about, when you occupy the top of the NFL media landscape, as the Cowboys do, as quote unquote America's team, there's a whole another side to this business than what people are doing on the football field.
Yeah.
And to Jerry's credit, he's pretty good at that sort of thing. As much as I don't like him, he's not a stupid man, that's for sure.
Yeah.
This game was never.
Like McCarthy gonna keep that job, man.
I think McCarthy's going to keep his job. This game was never in doubt. The Commanders ain't it. I don't remember how many times they sacked him, but they got to wins quite often. That defense is scary.
Yeah.
And I think it has to be said that Trayvon Diggs is playing a lot better this year.
What?
He's not putting up the interception numbers.
No, I think he's playing great.
No, but I mean, the knock on him last year was that he got a ton of interceptions, but he gave up a ton of yards also.
Yeah.
And this year he's sort of flipped it, and this year he's gambling a lot less.
Okay.
He's not. Okay. He doesn't have the interception count, but he's becoming week by week more and more starting to look like a true lockdown corner.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
The next game is the Seahawks and the Lions in the shootout of the day, man.
Man,
you picked. No, I picked this game, and I picked the Lions to win, and they lost. Seahawks came out, and the problem was
they wrote me off. I ain't right back though.
So,
yeah,
they did it, man. Pete Carroll, man. He got them balling with a mediocre team.
Yeah, well, I think it has to be said too that the Lions. I saw this while I was watching the game. I think the Lions have, oddly enough. Okay, so first of all, they've given up the most points than any other team through 4 weeks, and I think I think they're either first or second in points scored than any other team in the league. But you're not going to win football games if you're going to give up an average of 40 to 48 points per game. I mean, that's sure, they've been fun to watch and they put points on the board, but at the end of the day, they're 1-3, bro. Yeah. I mean, they're giving it in this game. I mean, the Seahawks were scoring like 14 points per quarter, basically.
Yeah, it was insane, and they put up a lot at the end. Like Goff just went ham at the end of the game. They put up 22 points in the fourth quarter.
Exactly.
So it's like Detroit was really fighting their way into the game, but they couldn't stop. They couldn't stop the Seahawks. They couldn't stop Geno Smith, who was out here throwing for over 300 yards.
Well, they also couldn't stop the run, too. Rashad Penny had 151 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns.
He is fast.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. He was flying. And did you see Metcalf on that play? He had 149 yards himself. Did you see him on that play when the guy, he was like running down the sidelines and he cocks back to stiff arm and the dude's like, It was like, I ain't going on your mixtape, man. He kind of like waited a little bit and kind of dragged him down to make sure he didn't eat that stiff arm. Metcalf was cocked and locked and loaded, ready to knock somebody out. But yeah, I think it's kind of, I don't think we're going to see the Seahawks every week. I'll put it like that.
No. And obviously the Lions were without
Swift.
Jared Goff was without Swift and also without Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Oh yeah. Still
TJ Hawkinson. TJ Hawkinson had almost 180 yards receiving. That's crazy. But the Lions need to. Imagine if you're. They're currently averaging somewhere in the 40s as far as like points scored.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to do is make your defense a little better.
You know what'll help? They should have during their practices. They should have the defensive coordinator battling it out with Deuce Staley, the running backs coach / assistant coach.
Right.
And just, that'll make their defense better. Good job.
Sure.
How long before Dan Campbell is forced to fire one of these assistants, all of these players that he's hired to be assistants of his? How long before he has to bring in a top-notch, like when Ron Rivera gets fired, he's going to be the defensive coordinator in Detroit?
You might have a really good point there because honestly, again, when you score that many points per game, you're supposed to win most of those games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the league's not scoring that much.
No,
the league's not going to have. So, like, you got to be.
You're like one of the statistical outliers. Like, scoring is way down, and you guys are just absolutely crushing it on offense when you have to. All you have to do is just make sure you don't give up 48 fucking points. Like, yeah. And I don't know if Aiden Hutchinson needs like some sort of an arm extension or something. He's got those little dinosaur claws. Maybe if they make his arms longer. Mm-hmm.
They said there's never been this score ever.
Oh, was this a scoregami?
This was the scoregami.
Scoregami. Do you think? I think scoregamis are stupid. Like, I don't understand why everyone gets excited about scoregami.
I don't know. The game's been around since the 1920s, man.
Whatever.
You would think every score's happened.
Sure.
But that's I'm sorry that you weren't impressed by that. I'll move on. The next game you chose, we sucked this week, by the way. You chose you picked the Titans. No, I'm sorry. You picked the Colts to beat the Titans, and the Titans won.
What the hell is going on with these Colts, man?
Bro, they are going to ruin us. We can't even cash out. We can't even cash out now on our division bet, but it looks like the Colts have just mailed it in. Frank Reich might be the first coach fired, and we might lose it all, man. I can't pay my rent. So, yeah. The game was trash.
Tannehill.
What's the name of your boy? Oh, my God. How did you... Was Matt Ryan always like this?
Well...
What is it about him in field goal range? He's just like, you know what?
He's been like this since they lost the Super Bowl, in all honesty. He has. This is who he is since that horrible Super Bowl loss to the Patriots.
The Titans were hanging on for dear life. They put up their 24 in the first half, and then they were like, all right, well. And then the Colts just couldn't do anything more than score 7 points. And the second half of this game was, this whole game was just the snore game of the week.
Yeah, Tannehill was not very good. Neither was Matt. Again, you do not want Matt Ryan to have to throw the ball 37 times, but part of the problem was that Jonathan Taylor just couldn't get it going. He had 20 carries for 42 yards. Not good.
Remember last year when the defense was their issue, the Titans? And we were like, they have a defensive coach. How is this not working out? And now defense is keeping them around.
Yeah.
So kudos to Vrabel but he's almost given up I don't know.
Derrick Henry finally had a day, 22 carries for 114 yards.
Yeah, man.
And a touchdown. He looked like the old Derrick Henry in this game.
Yeah, I hope that stays up.
Yeah, he was good. But these Colts, man.
Their defense was their calling card last year.
I know. And I know that they have some key players still out. What's his name? Shaquille Leonard is still out. He was the heartbeat of the defense. I thought I saw him in the game.
Okay, I thought I saw him.
Well, did he play? I don't remember, but he's been out. He hasn't. He didn't start the season. I'm not sure if he was in this game or not.
I could be wrong.
But either way, I mean, the good news is that this division is still there for them to take.
Oh, he had a concussion. He got a concussion in that game.
Okay, it is only week 4. I mean, didn't everybody lose?
Yeah,
except for the
Titans division. Yeah, it's not over.
Division.
Yeah, it's not over.
So even the Jags, who we were ready to sort of
anoint,
crown as the next potential leader of this shit show of a division.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's still time, and I still believe in our bet, but I will agree with you 100% because I even said it at the beginning of the year when we did the hot seat thing. This whole don't you feel sorry for me because Andrew Luck retired out of nowhere? That shit is over.
Yeah, that grace period is gone. Yeah.
Matt Ryan is who you hung your hopes on to save your job, and if this doesn't work, I think he's done for as the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. And I think,
Next game we got I picked the Giants to beat the Bears, and the Giants beat the Bears, who look like they're back to looking like the worst team in the NFL. I don't know how you feel about it. I don't know. There's like 3 plays each game when Justin Fields really looks like the truth. But the rest of it, I don't know, man. I'm wondering. Like, does he need a different situation? Last year he had a different coach who didn't build it around him. This year they're supposed to be building it around him, but they still don't throw the ball with him. He had 11 completions this game for his season high. This is not good, man.
I mean, he threw the ball 22 times and only completed 11 passes. You know, you bring up a lot of interesting points, and I think the Bears are just a lot deeper into a rebuild than most people are willing to admit or accept. I have always wanted to believe in Justin Fields, because we had him at Georgia, and
racist.
He basically got transferred, or he transferred so that he could play, because we were going to stick with the good old boy, Jake Fromm. Fromm, he's having a great NFL career, isn't he? Yeah. But I don't believe in the pieces that they've. I mean, he doesn't really have a lot of receivers to throw the ball to. Darnell Mooney finally had a good game. Yeah. That was it. Which is the first one on the year, but still, it's like, I mean, when you look at their receiver core, it's like you never heard of half of these guys. I
don't know if that's good enough excuse though, man. They're playing the Giants. They can scheme people open. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. When I see it, it doesn't pop off the screen. Sometimes you see a good quarterback and a bad. Look at Davis Mills, right?
Right.
The bad roster, but Davis Mills out there slinging that thing. He makes a couple mistakes, as you would, young quarterback, but there's no doubt he can be a starting quarterback in the league. He looks better.
I think an even better example is like last year's Trevor Lawrence. Like you could tell there was something special there. No, you're right.
I can see it on the ground for Fields. Like when he gets out of the pocket and he gets that first down. You know, he's not super spectacular on the run, but it's a threat. But it feels like it's more of a threat than his arm, and that's not what they need right now.
Also, the Bears are quickly developing a reputation as being one of the worst teams in the league when it comes to run defense. They gave up 146 yards to Saquon Barkley in this game. Damn. That's not good. The Giants weren't great, but they didn't have to be because the Bears suck. Daniel Jones,
he got hurt too.
He got injured in this game, but I feel like I saw later that he's fine and
he's gonna be back. Tyrod Taylor got hurt too. They ran Saquon out at quarterback for a couple plays because Taylor got hurt. Taylor got hurt. He left, and then Jones came in and then went out to receiver, like limped out to receiver, and Saquon Barkley took a couple wildcat snaps.
That's funny.
Until they figured out what was up with Tyrod. But Tyrod came out. Yeah, he was trying to lose it for him.
Because Daniel Jones was out there. He scored their 2 touchdowns. He had 2 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, he was out there scrambling.
But
scrambling and gambling. But he don't pass the eye test either.
No, of course not. And this is another one of those teams where you look at the Giants sitting at 3-1, and it's like
that'll correct itself. Hey, Giants fans, don't get too excited, all right?
Yeah.
I know we got some that listen, but it's like, yeah, pump the brakes. We know how this movie ends. You'll be outside looking in. I don't know. Call me out if I'm wrong, but I just don't believe the Giants are going to make the playoffs.
No, definitely not.
I don't know if I believe in Daboll either, but we'll see. I like him on the sidelines. He looks. I like the way the team seems to be behind him, and they got like a kind of bulldog mentality. But they're playing chumps so far. All right. Then we got a pretty fun game. The Jaguars played the Eagles. You tried to go for it, man. You shot your three and you airballed.
I know. I almost had it.
Yeah,
I felt like I had it. In the first
Jaguars
quarter, the
came
Jags
out hard. Yeah,
it was a weird game. There were a lot of turnovers because the weather was shitty. It was. I think you had the remnants of this hurricane that rolled.
Oh yeah,
Florida.
How was that for you? You're in Florida.
Actually, well, I'm in Georgia, but I
managed.
You were in Florida. So the hurricane cut across Florida and then went up
the East
like
Coast.
It was supposed to come here, but we were lucky. It flew out a little further and missed Augusta entirely. So we just had one day of rain, basically.
Okay.
But this game was affected. There was a lot of rain in Philadelphia, and so you had a lot of mistakes, a lot of fumbles.
Pick six.
You had a pick six. The Jags were up 14-0, like basically from the get-go. It was just like, whoa, what's happening here?
Yeah.
And then the Eagles woke up. The Eagles said,
no.
Not
here. No. Smack them around for a bit. It looks like we talked about Hawkinson's small arms. Does Trevor Lawrence have small hands? Because he can't seem to hold the football. I don't know. He just can't seem to hold the football.
Well, again, it was wet. You're right about that. It was wet.
But Hurts didn't fumble it 4 times. Or whatever it was.
True.
Didn't he lose 4 fumbles?
I think you're right. Yeah.
Or did he have 4 turnovers? He lost. I think he lost 4 fumbles.
He had an interception and then multiple fumbles. The Eagles woke up and scored 20 points in the second quarter, and then the defenses kind of did their job for the majority of the way through, and the Eagles kind of managed the game and. The cream rose to the crop. Yeah. I mean, the Eagles, this team, they're easily, obviously we'll get to it later, but it's not like a big surprise. This is the only scary team in the NFC.
Yeah.
Because they're just so good on both sides of the ball right now.
Each individual coach, each individual player, everybody in the building.
Hey, I came into the year wanting to roast that guy week after week, but I gotta say,
he watered the flowers. And now he's bearing the results. He did,
and sometimes you just got to be patient. You just got to let it grow and see what happens.
The next game, I picked the Steelers to beat the Jets because I'm not stupid.
Right,
and then the Jets beat the Steelers with fucking Zach Wilson.
This was such a fascinating game because, so obviously for those of you who didn't see it, this was the game where Trubisky gets benched.
Yes.
For Kenny Pickett.
We need a "you're out of here" sound.
And then poor Kenny Pickett comes out here and just almost immediately threw an interception.
It looked good though, man. The team seemed to be behind him. They were ready for a new change, man.
He did, and I will say in his defense that so he threw 3 interceptions.
So he threw 3 interceptions.
But what I'm going to say is that I know at least 2 of them were definitely not his fault.
Yeah.
Like it was like in the hands of the receiver. He threw it perfect, and it went off his hands and it was a pick. You can't put that on him.
I saw a lot of those yesterday. I mean, not yesterday. I saw a lot of those on game day where people were knocking them up and getting intercepted.
And But the thing that I can say about Kenny Pickett is that he did seem to be able to find. He's not as Mitch Trubisky looks like he's playing to keep his job, whereas Kenny Pickett looks like he's playing
just
to win the job. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you can tell that Trubisky has, whatever you want to call it, the trauma or the PTSD of his career, kind of going tits up, and now he gets a second chance. But this kid doesn't have that. Like, he's just out there ready to grip it and rip it, and he's going to make some mistakes. Mm-hmm. But he did. I mean, he looked pretty good, and I think most Steelers fans are going to be okay with the switch. I assume Kenny Pickett is going to start in the next game, but maybe not. I don't know.
I hope so.
I mean, I hope so too. I mean, I don't feel like those picks are really his fault.
I'm tired of Trubisky. I think we see what Pickett's got. Trubisky's not the future. Let's figure out if Pickett is.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I don't know. I was going to ask you earlier when we were talking about the Commanders, and I was saying Ron Rivera's seat is getting hot. I was wondering how many defensive coaches are flourishing right now. Like, what defensive-minded coaches are flourishing? And it's like, it's starting to look like, is the league going all offense coaches? I mean, even though most of the coaches getting hired are from the McVay tree now, but it's like, it's starting to look like the league is not interested in defensive-minded coaches.
Well, the McVay tree is clearly the most popular tree at the moment.
Yeah, of course.
It is bearing the most enticing fruit in the league. Yeah, you could say.
So I'm starting to look at it like, damn, because who's left? It's Mike Tomlin is left. Who else? You can't say Harbaugh. He's a special teams coach. He might be the only one. What defensive coaches left in the league? Bill Belichick. And those are both the two oldest coaches in the league. Oldest as far as being with the longest tenure. What other? Lovie Smith, I guess, in Houston. But we all know that's a temporary thing.
Yep.
Like, it's hard to find any. Pete Carroll? What's he do? Oh, he's just all over. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying, though? It's like,
yeah.
It looks like that's where, I guess Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles, yeah, exactly. That's what I was just thinking of.
Damn, that was almost all black coaches, too. What a coincidence. The league is going away from. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Oh, Mike Vrabel. It's another one, and he's people think he might be on the hot seat. So I don't know.
I think Vrabel's going to be fine.
I think he'll be fine too. I like him a lot.
He's still. I mean, he doesn't have as long as he has an unbeaten or not unbeaten. What am I talking about? A winning record streak. It's not as long as our boy up there in Pittsburgh, but
Tomlin,
but it's still real. You know what I mean? You can't fire a dude after just one difficult season.
Never say never, but never.
Right? Sure. True. What have you done for me lately, bitch?
Yeah. Oh, speaking of coaches and then did we talk about the Steelers Jets? Did we? Oh, I'm sorry. We did talk about the whole thing, right? We talked about Pickett. Zach Wilson looked okay. We didn't mention that.
He did.
But he also has some really bad patches in the game.
Sure.
But that's a young quarterback. I don't know. And the defense I don't know.
I mean, it took him a while to to really kind of to get the Jets into a position to win this game, but I think is Joe Flacco better than him? I'm not really sure. I mean, obviously he's back. You keep rolling with Wilson to see what he does next week. But
he's more likely to get schemed against and tricked than Joe Flacco.
Sure. Yeah.
So it depends. If Saleh feels safe with his job, then go with the young boy. That's the way I see it. If you're worried about it, then go with Flacco. At least you know what you got. He's not going to throw a bunch of picks and shit. He's going to throw a pick. Next
week they play your boys, the Dolphins.
Yeah, that's why Tua's not going to play. They already called him out too. They're like, "Nah, he's not gonna play. We don't need him." Teddy Bridgewater, Teddy Two Gloves got this.
Yeah.
The next game, if we want to talk about coaches, that with another head scratching coaching decision. The Bills. You picked the Bills to beat the Ravens.
Yep.
And the Bills did beat the Ravens.
Yeah.
And they should not have beaten the Ravens.
No. I mean, for me, the big takeaway from this game is that
Harbaugh's a fucking idiot that day. He lost his mind that
day. Yeah, but not even, sure.
I shouldn't say fucking idiot. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
He had a
brain fart.
He had a questionable moment. But this is 2 weeks in a row that they've blown.
No, they had a game between.
Did they?
They blew the Dolphins game. Then I think they beat the Patriots, and then.
Right, you're right about that. So anyway, it's 2 games this season where they have shown that they are capable of blowing a 17-point lead, at least. 0 points
in the second half.
I mean,
it's insane.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, this was an issue for them last year too, because they had a lot of problems in the secondary. They had a lot of injuries, and they were, they're a team that seems to get a little worn out in the second half.
They had this game. Kick the field goal.
Yeah.
Kick the field goal. That's it.
Yeah. What was it? It was 4th and what?
I want to say 4-7, something like that. I don't know. It was in goal, but at like the 4-yard line, something like that. I don't remember the exact, but they were in the goal, and on 4th and goal, they try to play, and then it turns out with Lamar Jackson trying to run around and make a crazy pass, and it gets picked off, and then Buffalo comes down and gets a field goal range and wins the game, walks off with the walk-off field goal, short field goal too.
It was 4th and goal from the Buffalo 2-yard line.
Was it the 2? He ran far back then.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe he wasn't kicking. I was like, what are you doing? Now you leave them. And did you see I forget which player it was arguing with him? Uh-huh. With the Harbaugh?
Yeah.
They had to separate the two.
I can understand where you're coming from to a certain degree, because there's a little more than 4 minutes left when they run that play. So you got 2 options there. You got 2 options there. You can either go for it, which is what they did, or you can kick a field goal. Mm-hmm. And you're going to leave Josh Allen more than 4 minutes to go down the field, which, granted, he's going to go down the field and get a field goal at least in 4 minutes. So you want to make him score a touchdown. So I understand where he's coming from, but it just seems like
show your team you got faith. I'm going to kick these 3. I believe in my defense to at least let them make them tie it. Don't make them win it. You know what I mean?
But I agree with you. And he did this shit last year too, where he even came out after the game and said, like, well, I made that decision because our defense was gassed. And it's like, yeah, but man, you got to give him a chance to go out there and make a play.
Yeah, man.
You got to.
He's talking about analytics. Didn't they make him fumble? Oh, no, it was the Dolphins game. I don't know. The Bills look more beatable than at the beginning of the season. We thought they were like a steamroller, and now they're looking beatable. It's like maybe that's not the Bills that we expected. Maybe they're mortal after all, and believe in your team a little bit. Mm-hmm. Believe in the team that had a 17-point lead earlier today.
I think I said the same thing about Harbaugh last year. I understand the analytics thing, but I do not like these guys who.
You mentioned it too.
I don't like these guys who hide behind the analytics when they fuck up.
He did,
and also. And you don't take you fail to take into account. I think we talked about this last season, where it's like you got to read the moment, bro. Mm-hmm. Like analytics, you can't read the moment with analytics. No. Analytics can't calculate the moment of the game, and I really think I think he made a huge mistake. It's obviously why they lost this game.
Sometimes it's as simple as what do they want us to do? You know what they don't want? They don't want us to take the lead right now.
Right.
They want us to go for 2, and then they feel like they could stop us. I mean, not go for 2, but go for it on 4th down, and they feel like they can stop us. That's what they want. So let's not give them what they want. Let's kick the field goal, put the pressure on them. He might fumble a snap. He might get sacked, stripped. He might throw an interception. They might, fumble it running. Singletary might fumble. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Put the pressure on them, man. They made it easy for them. They just got to cruise down the field, 4-yard drive, kick it with 4 seconds left on the clock. And that's why Marcus Peters was pissed, and they're arguing with each other at the end.
I think you got to find a way to back your defense, man. And even when you know that they're beat up, put them on the field and see what happens. Maybe they surprise you. Yeah. We had a situation this weekend, a little bit of a scare, where the Georgia Bulldogs nearly lost to Missouri, of all teams. And it was the same thing. It was one of those things where we were gassed, we were beat up. We took the lead late in the 4th quarter, and the defense, despite the fact they were exhausted and struggling all night long, when it mattered most, somebody made a play. I just feel like that's some advice that I could offer to Harbaugh. Just maybe he should
Georgia.
watch. Maybe instead of watching his brother's Michigan games, he should watch the Georgia Bulldog game. Watch the Georgia game on Saturday. Don't watch Michigan.
Good point. All right, then we got the Chargers, Texans. I had this game, and I chose the Chargers to win. I was right. The Texans came out and put up a valiant effort. Came up short against the Chargers, who were trying to lose. But I don't know, man. Staley's seat might be a little hot.
Yeah. I mean, the Chargers obviously looked a lot better in this game, but it's against a team like the Texans. It's concerning that they gave up as many points as they did.
Yeah.
I will say this: Dameon Pierce, who everybody was waiting to pop off, appears to be the real deal. This is 2 weeks in a row where he has just exploded. He had 14 carries, 131 yards, and a touchdown. And it was a long touchdown too, wasn't it?
Yeah, man.
Didn't he break off a long one?
He took off twice in this game. He averaging 9 yards a carry. That's crazy, man. He was balling. And I kind of like Davis Mills, man. They're really he makes his mistakes, but they're really going for it with him. I like it. The trust they have in him is the kind of trust that Harbaugh needs to have in his defense. Letting him throw the ball 35 times. And he's up there. Yeah. He's of course, the Chargers are a better team, and they won.
Another player that finally arrived in week 4 was Austin Eckler.
Yeah.
Everybody's been waiting.
Yeah,
the dude scored a ton of touchdowns last year. Fantasy's been waiting on him. He had 2 touchdowns, 60 yards on 13 carries. He also had a receiving touchdown too, didn't he? I think he did. Yeah, he did.
He did.
He had a receiving touchdown. He looked great. Good for him. Welcome back. We've been waiting. We've been waiting for the Austin Eckler show to return, and it showed up against the Texans again. Show me you can do that against a team that does not suck as much as the Texans. And
remember we almost bet the Chargers to win that division?
We did almost do that.
Looks like we did the right thing.
I wasn't ready to trust them.
Yeah, smart call. The next game, you chose the Cardinals over the Panthers. You were right. The Cardinals beat the Panthers.
Mm-hmm. They did.
And I still believe. I believe in the Panthers less than I did. I thought they might have been okay, but I believe Cliff Kingsbury is matter time, man. Matter time. We said that they'd win this game, but they're in the bottom third of the league, man. The Cardinals. I don't know. Yeah. I'm just not convinced. I think it's another example of them. They have to lean on Kyler Murray, man. You got him running around and trying to create stuff, and it's not. It doesn't. I don't know. I guess when they get Hopkins, they could do that even more. But
I'm worried. I think the Cardinals will be just a, kind of an average team this year. I'm not too worried about them. But these Carolina Panthers, I think it has to be said, this was the first week that I heard some real chatter about, should we bench Baker Mayfield?
Oh, shit.
That's what everybody's saying. It's funny because I don't normally watch, as well as I do. There's like a whole, like before and after the game. Mm-hmm. When you watch it here in the States, there's all this chatter, these talking heads, and I never watch any of that stuff when I'm back in Sweden because it's never on at a good time for me. Yeah. But yeah, this is the big conversation surrounding the Carolina Panthers right now, which is interesting. Again, Baker Mayfield is not somebody you want throwing the ball more than 30 times. He had 197 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. And also a big part of this is that they haven't been able to get the run game going either in a very consistent way. McCaffrey, he only had 8 carries in the entire game for 27 yards. So I don't.
He had more receptions than runs.
Again, to me, this feels more like a coaching issue than it does because when you watch this team play and then you sit there and then you look at the box score after the game and you're like, what the fuck is the game plan here, guys? What are you doing? I don't quite get what's happening in Carolina. I guess that it's probably I don't think Matt Rule was a mistake, period. He was a mistake. Oof. You never should have hired him. And it's time to cut him loose. I think that's really, if you had to boil it down to one thing, here's a guy who never had a particularly successful record when he was a college coach, right? He took a bad program in college and made them average, and everyone got excited about that. And I think he was like the cake that wasn't ready to come out of the oven yet. And I guarantee you that there are a ton of vacancies in the college football world at the moment. I wouldn't. Don't be surprised if this guy gets one.
Damn. Yeah, Matt Rule is not looking good for you, bro. Next game turned out to be an exciting one because the underdogs almost pulled it off. But an overtime thriller, Patriots versus Packers. I chose the Packers to win. You won't see me picking the Patriots much. But the Patriots were ready to play, man. They came to play. Straight up Belichick football.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's loving it, man. He's like, man, this is my type of shit, man. Defense and running game. Let's go. I don't care if it's my third string quarterback.
Yes. We were all introduced to Brandon Zappi. I mean, how about that? That's a very interesting name for a quarterback. Probably the most fascinating name for a quarterback I saw on Saturday. Who does that guy play for? I can't remember. There was a college game I was watching, and the quarterback's name was Dart.
Oh, wow.
I was like, that guy's born to play quarterback.
Yeah. Too easy for the announcers. But between the two quarterbacks, Zappi and Hoyer, before he got hurt, between the two of them, they threw the ball 22 times. And one Baker Mayfield's throwing it 36. So Belichick was like, we're going to smash your mouth.
Look, the Patriots defense did a good job of frustrating the Packers to a certain degree. But it has to be said, at the end of the day, I mean, Rodgers does throw for over 250 yards, 2 touchdowns. Aaron Jones had 110 yards rushing. Yeah. Alan Lazard had 6 receptions for 116 yards. It's like,
you saw that catch on the sidelines?
Yeah.
Lazard, oh my God.
That was special. So yeah, the score was close, but
they went to overtime.
And they did go to overtime, and you have to credit the Patriots for keeping this a close game. And I think you certainly didn't see a very happy Aaron Rodgers after this game. He seemed pretty pissed. Like he was like, I think he said in the post-game press conference that, winning in this way is not going to be very sustainable for us. Like we have to get better and, all those kind of things. So he's I mean, they've cleaned up their receiver issues, I think, but maybe they have some issues on the offensive line. How many times did Rodgers get sacked? He got sacked a couple of times in this game.
Maybe the best defensive play I've seen all year happened in this game. Rodgers did throw a pick six. And
that's true. He did throw a pick six.
This big-ass cornerback named Jack Jones, watch out for this dude, man. That's a big dude, and he ran the route. I want to say it was Lazard, but whoever it was, he ran the route for him and picked it up. He almost jumped it so bad that he went past it. He had to reach back to pick it off.
Yeah,
that's how much he ran that route for that guy, the comeback route. And
that happened in the game last night too. Stafford, same thing.
Oh yeah,
the guy jumped the route so much so that he had to reach back and grab it.
Yeah. Stafford, oh my God, don't get me started on that one. I'm worried about that a little bit. But yeah, that was a Belichick type game, but it was a loss. So Packers still, making us nervous about that Vikings pick. All right, then you picked the Raiders to beat the Broncos. That came true. Both looked like shit. I thought. I don't know. I wasn't that impressed by either team.
Both quarterbacks looked a little shaky, but I will say another guy who has finally arrived in Week 4 was Josh Jacobs.
Oh, yeah. He looked.
Josh Jacobs had himself a really nice 28 carries for 144 yards and 2 touchdowns. Nice to see him come alive. He looked electric.
He had that change of direction on the right side and just almost like a basketball crossover.
Yeah, I don't know
what it was.
He's
running, man.
I don't know what it was that made him finally wake up in Week 4, but man, he was the difference in this ball game for sure.
Remember when we were saying the Broncos were a quarterback away? They had this stout defense. It looks like Nathaniel Hackett put the team in reverse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then Russell had his moments of trying to carry the team to victory, but I don't know, man. This might be a one and done for Nathaniel Hackett.
Well, okay. So the other issue that has to be brought up too is Melvin Gordon's tendency to fumble the football.
That too. I wanted to talk about that too because we all know
that's a problem.
We know he shouldn't be like they have a really good running back. And they keep letting I don't know if he has some dirt on Nathaniel Hackett or something, but Javonte Williams should be their premier back. I feel like I like the way he runs hard and strong, and Melvin Gordon, I don't know. They only ran it 3 times with him, but and big, I don't know, man. Was that 4 this year? 4 fumbles?
I think so.
4 lost fumbles this year? I don't know.
I'm
rooting for Russ, and it's not going well for me.
Who got injured in this game? Javonte Williams.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Javonte Williams got injured in this game.
Oh, yeah, it was a bad injury, too.
Is he done for the year?
It might be. He had a knee injury of some sort. We can cover it once we do the next episode when there's more info, but yeah, man, I forgot about that. But they might have to go find another running back, man. Shit.
Look, here's the reality is that we thought the Broncos were a quarterback away from being a good football team. I think everybody was wrong about that.
No, I think they were a quarterback away with Vic Fangio. But they got rid of Vic Fangio, and now the defense isn't stout like it used to be. So now it's like a whole new identity of the team. That's what I think. I don't know.
Yeah, the defense has not been impressive, that's for sure. I mean, they have lost. I mean, they did lose some key. Didn't they lose? What's his name? Patrick Surtain.
Is Surtain out?
He's out.
Okay.
So I think they lost 2 starting corners, but still, you should. I don't know, man. This team should be better than this, and they're just not. I mean, this is the first time the Broncos have put up that many points this year. I guess maybe that's something to be excited about for them, but I don't know. Again, Week 4. Good for the Raiders. They finally got a win. They were 0-3 before this game started, and now they're finally in the victory column.
Yeah.
Thanks by and large. Thanks to Josh Jacobs, because Derek Carr was not special at all. Yeah.
All right, the next game, was the Bucks versus the Chiefs. I picked the Chiefs, but I wasn't so sure about it because the Bucks defense has been good. And then apparently the Bucks defense decided not to fly to the game. So,
oh my God, dude! I watched this game.
Me too. Well, I watched it like you know how I do. Wake up early and watch it.
I watched it live, and it was. I mean, this is one of those. I mean, Patrick Mahomes. Like, why?
Bruh, I had to show my wife. I called my wife in there. Like, come here. Look at this. This is the best quarterback in the league. This is why. When he does that spin move and flips the ball up like that, come on.
Yeah. I mean, you're just not supposed to be able to do stuff like that. And he does it kind of on the regular. And that was obviously the one that made the highlight reel. I mean, there were 100 other throws in this game where it was just like these crazy little sidearm throws.
The angles, he throws at different angles. He's just running. Even when he decides to run, he does it in such a smart way. Picks up the yards he needs. He goes at the line of scrimmage. He'll like run towards it hard and then like tail off just to give him more time to throw it to somebody open when the defense commits to trying to tackle him because they think he's past the line of scrimmage. Everything he does, man, it's impressive.
I also love that play, that touchdown they scored from like the 1 yard line where Mahomes was pointing at the receiver.
Pointing at Kelsey.
like something was off or something was wrong. And meanwhile, the what's his name? The Gray. Was it Noah Gray? The tight end slips under center and gets the Wildcat snap and just barrels it in. It was like, oh, Jesus.
They're the best at that shit, man. And then so many teams are trying to do it, but they look clunky trying to do it. The Eagles had their little thing. And, you know, all of these teams have these little plays like that now. But the Chiefs have it down, man. 41 points on one of the top defenses in the league.
Yeah.
Who's probably dealing with a lot of shit, though, with the hurricane and all of this stuff, though.
Sure, and to Brady's credit, I mean he did have a pretty decent game.
He almost had 400 yards.
Yeah, and really kept this close, but it didn't. They had some turnovers early that kind of put them behind the 8 ball.
I thought Brady was gonna be hurt, man. They were kind of getting after him. But I think the rule of thumb for them should be don't make Brady throw it more than his age. So he's 46. He shouldn't be throwing the ball 52 times.
Well, one of the big issues was that they got behind early. Yeah. Right. And then they essentially abandoned the run game.
Yeah, that's true. Completely.
Fournette had 3 carries for -3 yards. The other guy had 3 carries for 6 yards. I mean, they had. Is that true? Did they have only a total of 6 yards rushing all night long?
God damn! Not even 3 yards rushing.
They had 3 yards rushing all that. I mean, they just completely abandoned the run game. For what reason? Obviously you
playing the Chiefs, got to keep up.
I mean, if you're playing, yeah, exactly. And I think that kind of gets in your head when you play a team like the Chiefs. You think you need to score early and often, and they just weren't able to keep up. No. The Chiefs were just too much for them.
Yeah. Oh well, we know how that's when those teams gonna face each other. And the Chiefs had a little chip on their shoulder from the Super Bowl. Well, bad taste in their mouth.
True.
The final game, I guess you've seen it. I saw it. The Rams versus 49ers. You chose the Rams, but the 49ers won. The 49ers seem to have their number in the season. And
man, that defense
oh
in
my
San
God.
Francisco is no fucking joke, dude.
Yeah, I was surprised.
How many sacks did they have? 7 sacks. They had 7 sacks. 11 QB hits. They were just killing drives, just killing it. Stafford couldn't do anything. He's fortunate to have only thrown 1 pick, to be honest with you.
It feels like he threw more.
And it does feel like he threw more.
It feels like he's throwing a bunch.
And the other issue is that this basically kind of. It was just Cooper Kupp and Tyler Higbee. That was the only people he could find open all night long.
Yeah, that's true.
The rest of the crew did nothing. Allen Robinson has continued to disappoint.
He seems like he's trying to find his place in that offense, man. They better hurry it up, man. We bet on them.
I mean, the idea that he was just going to slide in and take OBJ's spot has not really turned out.
And OBJ came over in the middle of the season, right? Last year.
Exactly.
He figured it out. I feel like McVay's going to figure something out. They had some nifty plays where they created stuff. They had one like end around, perfect timing, handoff that I was just like, so McVay. But 9 points, man. I don't care who you are. 9 points in today's NFL?
We finally got a big Deebo Samuel play.
Yeah.
I mean, that fucking guy.
It's fun to watch.
The way he can find his way into the end zone, his ability to navigate the field under pressure after the catch is second to none. He's pretty fascinating to watch.
Before the season, we were going back and forth, thinking one of these two teams will win a division. It feels like that's the way it's gonna be because the Seahawks, don't seem like they're gonna win it, and who's the other team over there? Why am I drawing a blank? Who's the fourth team in the West? Oh, the Cardinals. The Cardinals. So,
the Cardinals.
So it's gonna be one of these two. I really needed the Rams to win it.
This was the perfect game plan for Jimmy Garoppolo. He only has to throw the ball 27 times. You didn't put the game on his shoulders. Jeff Wilson had a decent night. 18 carries, 74 yards, and a touchdown.
He had that breakaway. Did you see how fast he hit the hole, man? Like, that was so well blocked. You got to appreciate when zone blocking is done right. Oh, man. I don't know if you watch the tapes, man, but I'm a tape head.
Yeah,
and,
I know.
I know. It was beautiful to watch. But damn, a little part of me is kind of rooting for the Rams, man. I want them to. I don't like that when a team loses the Super Bowl. I mean, wins the Super Bowl and then comes back the next year and like not make the playoffs. So many times that happens. Come on, Rams, get it together.
They should not be. They have too many weapons to be scoring 9 points in a football game.
You paid for it.
Yeah, you fucked them picks and you went out and paid all those guys.
Yeah.
You should not be a field goal offense. But credit to this 49ers defense appears to be real.
They're built to beat the Rams, so we'll see. It makes me wonder what happens when. Oh yeah, Trey Lance is out for the season, but what happens at the end of the season?
Yeah, I don't know.
Damn. So you ended up winning this week 9-7.
Let's go.
The total points is 38-31 right now. I'm up.
Oh, I'm coming up. I'm coming for you.
Yeah. So we'll and I'm flipping this and when later in the week. So hopefully I can pull away a little bit more. We'll see. But that's the games, man. Week 4 was fun, and now it's time to find out real MVP, man. Who you got?
I mean, it's the same one from last week, to be honest with you. I mean, when Patrick Mahomes plays the way that he did against the Buccaneers, I just don't know. I don't know who else to you can't compare him to anyone. Yeah. Because he's so he can do all the things that a quarterback is supposed to do, and then he does all the things that you're not supposed to do, and he manages to pull them off. I not to be too hyperbolic, but you watch a guy like Mahomes, you think of him as more than an athlete. He's almost like an artist out there. It's weird. He's my real MVP for sure.
You the real MVP.
I gotta agree with you, man. That dude is out of his mind. It's like, what can't he do? The fact I don't know if I've ever paused the game to call my wife in to tell her she needs to see this, unless it's a Dolphins game. You know what I mean? I was like, this dude. No matter, you got to be able to appreciate it. I feel like how people must have felt as a fan of the Knicks in the '90s when you just like, but he's Jordan. You know what I mean? It's like, I know he's not on my team, but I got to give it up. He's the best, and I don't think any quarterback is close. It's like we take it for granted. He's so good, we take it for granted, and we try to say all of these Justin Herbert, Josh Allen. There's nobody on the level of Mahomes, man. Not right now. The only one that's gonna be close very soon is Jordan Love. All we need is for.
We just need an Aaron Rodgers injury.
Get out of the way, Aaron. Let this man. Let Jordan. All right.
Yeah, let him shine.
Yeah.
What's wrong with y'all?
So Patrick Mahomes.
You the real MVP.
All right, who's your trash for the week?
Man, there's so many good options, to be honest with you.
I could tell
but
you
I'm
mine.
gonna go with the Lions defense.
Oh.
I'm gonna go with the Lions defense, and here's a little bit of tough love for the Lions. Like, you got this Hard Knocks bump. Everybody's rooting for you.
Yep.
You're putting up bucket loads of points on the offensive side of the ball, and all you need to do is clamp down this defense. And you just gave up 48 points to one of the worst teams in the National Football League, the Seahawks. That's going to be the only game that the Seahawks are going to score 48 points in, I would predict. Man, you got to fix that, dude. You got to fix it.
With that offense, all you need is to hold them under 30. Is that so hard?
I know. I know.
Hold somebody under 30. Man, I think you're right about that.
You are trash.
That's your trash. My trash was also identified. And you know what you do when you got trash? You take it out. And that's exactly what Mike Tomlin did. He took out the trash, which is also known as Mitch motherfucking Trubisky. Was so trash that he was not to be seen in the second half of the game. And they reported it as non-injury. It's like, no, he's not hurt. He just sucks. That's what they said. Because Mr. Trubisky,
You are trash.
does that mean that's the end of his career? I'm wondering. Are we ever going to see this guy again? Is he going to be at the back of somebody's roster for the next 5 years before he's out of the league, beat out by a fifth-round pick?
Well, I think he's a certified backup at this point.
Yeah.
He's a certified backup. He could stay in the league as a backup quarterback for a while.
That's true. He could. Maybe he'll have a renaissance like Geno. Some team will be rebuilding and then Mr. Trubisky he'll be out here like,
They wrote me off. I ain't right back though.
what's their shit they got learned, man?
My shit that got learned is that, you know what, it takes sometimes, guys, some people like to get up early, some people like to sleep in, and week 4 appeared to be the week that a lot of things that we were waiting for finally woke up. We had a great performance from Derrick Henry and the Titans. The Bengals finally looked like a competent football team. Also, another great performance from Josh Jacobs. The Chargers showed that they're not dead yet. You got a lot of teams out here that are finally waking up and smelling the smelling salts, and a lot of players too. Austin Eckler, that's the other one. It was just a lot of guys that we were expecting. We had high expectations for to start the year, and it feels like week 4 was the week that a lot of them showed up.
Yeah, quarter of the way through the season. My shit that got learned. Well, there's one thing I knew already, so it can't be that got learned. Is that the NFL doesn't give a fuck about its players, but so I can't really go into that. But another thing I learned: delay of game. It's just a suggestion.
You're right about that. Wow.
I keep hearing about this, like, because the referee looks at the clock and then looks at the ball and then blows the whistle. It's like, come on, man. Can they put like a strip of lights, LED lights in the ball? And then when the clock hits 0, the light flashes. And if the ball hasn't snapped yet, like the shot clock in the NBA.
I feel like,
or maybe they could have it something glows, like the NBA, or maybe on the goalposts, a flashing light.
That is exactly what I was going to suggest. That the entire goalpost could that would be very both effective
and the
kind
replay,
of cool looking.
and the replay. You got the replay too. You can see if the ball got snapped before the light, just like in the NBA.
I feel like basketball solved this problem, and I don't understand why the NFL cannot just borrow the same thought process to fix it. Because you're right. It's didn't the Patriots score a touchdown?
They scored a touchdown,
like
and the ball, it was like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And the ref, did you see them talking?
Yeah.
The back judge who's in charge of that call was doing the reset motion, like he thought it was going to reset. It's like, first of all, why don't you know this? And secondly, like, why isn't this just like, okay, well, it was a delayed game? Because they had just gotten a delayed game. So the ref was like, oh, there's no way there's two. Yes, there's two, motherfucker. It's like, what? You stop looking because they just had one?
Yeah. No, you're right. That's ridiculous.
And a Belichick team should be embarrassed that you had two.
It's such a solvable problem that it feels like it seems silly.
I've literally never thought about a solution to this and just thought up a better one than they have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
It's like it's something I never put thought to, and then we already have one just like that. So that's what it is, man. The delayed game is it's so stupid. Scariest AFC team.
It's still the Chiefs.
Yeah. Well, last week I had the Dolphins, but now I have to say the Chiefs, man. This Dolphins scared me in a different way.
Right. I mean, the Chiefs. They just seem like the most complete team in AFC. We're starting to see the Bills crack a little bit. I still believe in the Bills, but they've got some issues that they need to take care of. But the Chiefs are the standard. Period.
Yeah, man. I agree. I got the Chiefs. They put up 41 points on a top 5 defense. And looked like they could have pedaled to the metal and put some more points up. So yeah, I gotta go with them as well. And the NFC, I'll start because preseason I predicted that the Super Bowl teams were going to be Chiefs versus Eagles, and it's looking like their prediction looks good from the first quarter. Mm-hmm. So I gotta say the Eagles, man. Hurts looking, he's looking like the man. He's got confidence. The team looks like they believe in him. I don't know, man. And,
we're on the same page.
I had them last week too. It's like,
yeah, we're on the same page with this one. The thing that I was most impressed with in this game was that the Eagles showed that they could win, despite the fact that they got punched in the mouth early. Mm-hmm. Despite the fact that the weather was a real factor. This felt like it had trap game written all over it after the first quarter. And they managed to gather themselves. Each and every one in the building got together and adjusted and took care of their business. So yeah, the Eagles are the scariest team in the NFC.
Nice, man. All right, well, that's this episode, man. It was fun times. Your boys out here with 2-game winning streak and shit.
What's up with that, yo?
I'm glad for you, man. But yeah, that's been this latest episode. This was the Week 4 reactions, and we'll be back with the Week 5 predictions, man. Thanks for checking us out. It's been Jonathan Rollins.
And Schif Misara.
And we'll catch y'all next time with the Week 5 predictions. And then you can hit us up to check out the gambling and whatnot on patreon.com/SveNFL. Thank y'all. Peace.
Later, y'all.